50 years ago, 20 million Americans took to the streets for the very first Earth Day. Thousands of colleges and universities and schools also participated. At its heart, this explosion of environmental grassroots activism was about demanding radical change to fix severe environmental neglect and pollution. It was an historic moment, and it created a profound shift in society and in our political climate. At that time, the Cuyahoga River in Ohio had just caught fire again because of chemicals and industrial materials oozing into the river. Also, an oil rig had just leaked millions of gallons of oil off the coast of Santa Barbara. Our national symbol, the bald eagle, was in rapid decline as a species due to the spraying of a dangerous chemical, DDT. Around the world, whales were being hunted nearly to extinction. Those very first Earth Day protesters rallied around those issues, but they also were rallying against polluting factories, toxic dumps, air pollution, raw sewer releases, sprawling freeways, the loss of habitat, and impacts to vulnerable low-income communities. They caught the attention of the national media and showed people across America and the rest of the world what we were doing to our planet and to our own local environment. These efforts led to major changes in the United States. That same year, Congress and President Richard Nixon created the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and they passed laws creating the Clean Water Act, the Clean Air Act, Endangered Species Act, and many others. So how did this happen? How did this start? Earth Day, April 22nd. This was a marriage of people and politics. Young people, everyday people, and one brave politician. Senator Gaylord Nelson, a Democrat from Wisconsin, for years had tried to raise awareness about the deterioration of our natural world, but he was getting nowhere. With anti-war teach-ins organized on many college campuses at that time to oppose the Vietnam War, Senator Nelson suddenly got an idea to do a teach-in. He reached out to Pete McCloskey, a conservation-minded Republican congressman from California, to be his co-chair for Earth Day and to help organize teach-ins coast to coast. It was a gamble, but it worked, and the rest is history. So on this 50th anniversary of Earth Day, where are we now? More than 1 billion around the world celebrate it. This year, however, because of the coronavirus pandemic, we won't be able to hold cleanups, marches, protests, town halls, hikes, paddles, festivals, but the need to protect our environment and planet are still urgent and pressing. 50 years later, our youth and millions across the world are focused on fighting the coming ravages of climate change, brought on by our dependence on fossil fuels. We are also facing a growing global single-use plastics crisis. And meanwhile, we have witnessed continued attempts to roll back more and more environmental protections by industry lobbyists and certain politicians. We must keep fighting back. Now, more than ever, we are at a point where we have to undergo another radical transformation and think about how we redo our food supply systems, transportation, energy, the way that we plan our cities. All of these will be critical to ensuring that we can establish and create a more sustainable world. Senator Nelson said at that very first Earth Day, the battle to restore a proper relationship between man and his environment between man and other living creatures will require a long, sustained political, moral, ethical, and financial commitment far beyond any effort made before. And those words still ring true today. Together, let's continue to envision the world that we want to live in, the world that we want to leave behind for our future generations. Together, let's continue to fight for a more just and green world. Thank you for supporting the work and mission of our environmental nonprofit, the Rio Grande International Studies Center. We hope that you will join us this week for a series of micro workshops and talks online as we celebrate Earth Day and Earth Week. Thank you.